Say hi. Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of Teachers and Cars Getting Coffee. And today I'm with Mr. Josh. We're going to be talking about the philosophy of teaching for social studies. But first we're going to get coffee and we're going to get a tripod because I left the tripod with Satvir. Well, she bought it, so it's her tripod. Good?
One plus summer you come to me, ripe and ready, and bad through and through.
So do you have like any idea how you would like your future classroom to look like?
I guess the way that I see it is that like I always thought of my classroom kind of looking like a standard classroom, but I also kind of like the idea of whenever we do some activities, like either moving the desks in a certain way to make it easier for everyone, or like,
So you're thinking like more traditional setup, desks and
I like that idea, but I also like the idea of going outside.
Right.
You know.
I'm kind of the same. Like when I think of classrooms, I don't know if this is because this is how my schools used to look growing up, but I want my classrooms at the beginning to look more traditional, if that makes sense, and then gradually try to experiment.
Oh, sure.
You know,
as you get more comfortable.
Yeah, because you want to start from like level 1. You don't want to start from level 50 because you don't know the context, right? You don't. Like with Zoe's classroom, how did you feel about that?
I thought it looked really cool.
Same. I was like, oh my god, I want to try that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things that I didn't understand yet, so I would like to build up to it. You know.
That's true.
I don't want to just do it and I don't know why I'm doing it.
That's true.
Right?
Have like a purpose.
Yeah, you want to understand the purpose first. So, what specific inquiry skills do you plan on incorporating in your future classrooms? Specifically in social studies.
Yeah, so I really want to help students build critical thinking skills.
And how do you do that?
I want them to I really want to get them to, for instance, like ask questions about why the way things are. I don't ever really want to shut down those kinds of questions because it's really important for. I think it's really important for students to, or just for anyone in general, to be asking why things are and not just accept that things are the way that they are because that's how it is, right?
Right. And how would you encourage that?
Never turn away questions. If there's questions, I would like to turn that into learning opportunities, even if it's spontaneous, even if I don't know the answer. And I also think it's good to admit as a teacher that you don't know the answer, for instance, and to do research with the students.
Right, because you're learning as well.
Well, that's the thing, right? It shows that people don't have the answers to everything, right? What about you?
Yeah, I have a similar answer. Like, I would like them to keep asking questions. But for me, I would like to use more of my background to get them to ask. Like, I would like to really incorporate storytelling because I studied film, I studied animation. I would like to present lessons in the form of stories. Kind of like the presentation that we did with the rafts. Like, I feel like that's where I thrive. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want my future students to. You want to go this way or that way? Let's go that way. I want my future students to be able to communicate their thoughts and their questions. And for me, the way I communicate is through stories.
I also want to really help students. One, with the interpretation of information as also.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that because I think we're in a time where, I mean, we've always been in a time where there's new information, there's new technology, there's new ways of absorbing that or getting that information delivered to you. Social media is one of them. I think Zoe said in one of her classes that she thinks that we should have whole classes dedicated to radio games. Or
I agree.
Online play, right?
I agree. Especially now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because like, for us, like, we grew up in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that like, there was a lot of growing pains associated with that, you know. But for students today, there's going to be way more growing pains because it's way more complex than.
Right, because they don't even know what's real anymore.
That's the
AI
thing.
is getting so good, and it's everywhere,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's confusing.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I want to help students. Again, it's hard to really imagine what that looks like, but I want to help them, for instance, interpret, is a post real, is it not real? You know, I want
And
them
how
to-
do you do that?
Yeah, that's why I think questioning is so important, because I want
Mhm.
them to question everything they see, and I want them to, you know, dive deeper, try and find out what the source is. I also want them to know where can you find reliable information.
Right.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, because it used to be, the struggle with education used to be, where do you find the information?
Yeah.
Now information is everywhere. It's in your pocket. It's more about
It's like
sifting through all of that. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say garbage, but there's just so much information out there,
Yeah,
and you don't know what's what.
exactly.
Okay, instructional approaches that you plan on using to teach social studies.
Yeah, so I want to do current events a lot.
Okay.
Just because I think one of the most important roles that we have as teachers is to help students make sense of the world,
Right.
right? If we always keep shielding them from what they see or just telling them to ignore it, the problem is that they see it, they know something's going on, and I think that can create a lot of anxiety for kids.
Right.
And I think a really important thing to do is to, obviously at an age appropriate level,
Right.
but we want to, you know, integrate current event issues.
Right.
You know, if you never bring in the world into what they're learning, I don't think they can ever really connect what they're learning to.
Right. Right. It's, you mentioned the Zoe saying something about the flags being at half mast,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like
Yeah, like if a kid comes in one day and just asks why are the flags at half mast,
right. You
And-
have to be prepared to
Exactly.
give an answer, because that's an opportunity to teach them about current events organically.
yeah, absolutely. Like that's a great way. Like don't just say I don't know and move on. You have to, you know, listen to them and like that day when the flags were at half mast, it was about labor history. I heard this quote the other day that, you know, it's important when you're teaching to give your students the tools to thrive, right? You don't want to just spoon feed them information. You don't want this to become like a memorization process,
Right.
right? You want them to be able to learn certain skills and apply them in the real world. And I think integrating current events into what you're teaching really helps with that. You know?
So yeah, I definitely agree with connecting social studies to current events, because like when I was a student, I just thought social studies was about events that happened a long time ago. So why should I care? And I think as teachers, it's important for us to let them know that this news is happening now. So it involves them as students, even if they're young. It's important for them to understand that the news that's happening in the past is very much connected to what's happening now.
Exactly, and what's happening now is exactly going to relate to what is going to happen to them when they're adults. Yeah, I remember I had a teacher when I was in grade 5 or in 5th grade, and this was when I was starting to like develop a special interest in history.
Right. And you took up history for your major,
Yeah,
for your bachelor's?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And the thing was just that like I would just read about these things at the library. I would read about, for instance, the Zulu Wars, or I would read about what happened in Rwanda, which is kind of a heavy topic for grade 5.
Yeah, I saw the movie Hotel Rwanda. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Heavy. Anyway.
But the thing was that I remember asking my teacher about these things, and I'm sure it probably
That would have scared me if my student asked me about that, but
yeah.
how
for
did
sure.
he take it?
The thing was that he didn't shut anything down. He always answered my questions in a way that, like, obviously he didn't straight up tell me, for instance, that like about the terrible worst of the worst things that happened, but he did try and help me make sense of these things. He explained them to me from his perspective, and that honestly was really great.
Sparked your interest in
That's the thing, and that's why
social studies.
exactly when I want to be a teacher, I want to do that too. I want to, if there's a question, I think the time when there is the greatest learning opportunity is when it's spontaneous.
Right.
You just have this question in your head, like, why is that there, right?
Right.
And
That
the
way
thing
they
is that-
don't throw it out.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, that in that moment, that's what, at least for me, that's what I was interested in, and I wanted the answer. And I want to be a teacher that's like equipped to take advantage of that learning opportunity.
So
Alright,
this is Josh is very much a fish out of water. He just told me he's really nervous. I think he's doing a really good job though.
Thanks. Wait, so what's your favorite social studies memory? It can be from, well, even from the class we just had.
So from the class, I have a very not as special sounding as yours.
No.
But Zoe had a speaker. What's her name? She talked about field trips.
Yeah. I'm blanking.
Yeah, her, your friend. We remember her, just not her name at the moment. But she talked about field trips, and I remember going on a field trip with my class and my placement class, and we went to the movies, and I was so excited because it was my first time riding the yellow school bus. Did you know that?
No,
I didn't go to school here, so that was my first time inside the yellow school bus, and I felt so Canadian.
But that's cool though, because like for me it was like something I took every day.
Right. So for me, I didn't grow up on that. To me, that was just, it existed in movies. So when I was able to go inside that yellow school bus, it was like, hey, I feel kind of Canadian,
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to do things like that in your class, especially for like kids who are not originally from Canada, because for me, it made me feel a little bit less of an outsider. Know about this statue? Yeah.
That's a statue of Isaac Ross.
What do you know about him? Do you know anything about him? Not really.